the beginning. So who do I have here? Coulson. Which types of movements are involuntary to a specific stimulus? You had the first three for, oh no, is that, yeah, the first three for chapter 4, right? Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Coulson, question number 1 for chapter 4.
I didn't know we had assigned a chapter, so I did the first question. Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Is it reflexive?
It is reflexive. Well done. Yes. Right? Remember that stereotypies are also involuntary, but they don't respond to a stimulus. They are just erratic and kind of occur without any specific stimulus. All right? Did you do number 2 as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Hurrah! Which type of reflex is exhibited by newborns but loses strength over time until disappearing or being subsumed around month 4?
Primitive?
Primitive, good. Yeah, they're the first ones in the sequence, right? So they're important because we think that their role is predominantly making sure that the baby is safe, right? And then number 3, motor development and early movement experiences lead to which of the following? Integrating sensory information, exploring the environment, skilled movement performance in all motor skills, or combinations thereof.
E, A, B, and C.
Okay. A and B, not C. Right? So early movement experience wouldn't lead to skilled movement performance. Right? Because skilled movement performance takes years and years and years and years and years. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're looking at A, integrating sensory information, definitely. You know, once they're self-locomoting and moving around and they can reach and grasp and they're learning to use that sensory information that they're getting. And exploring the environment, right? Early movement, self-locomotion, usually creeping, but sometimes bum scooting, very, very rarely a bear walk. Okay, yeah, good, well done. Okay, so, Glory.
Yes, ma'am.
Order of motor milestones is likely to be getting to hands and knees, rolling over, or walking alone. True or false?
I think true.
Okay. No, that's false. All right? Because we would roll over. They roll over by about 5 months. 5 months? I think 5 months. And then we get up onto hands and knees around 7 months. Okay? So that would actually be false.
Okay.
All right? Which which of the following constraints would not be thought of as a rate limiter for early motor development? Strength, posture, gravity, coordination.
Gravity.
Gravity, good. Yeah, remember that rate limiters are individual constraints, and gravity is an environmental constraint, so it can't be a rate limiter. Right? Well done. Okay, what about the Seefeld model? Can you describe the important points?
I'm not really too sure about this one, but I feel like if the barrier isn't crossed by a certain age, subsequent development will be difficult, and it impacts the development trajectory.
Okay, and what makes the Seefeld model stand out from other models? What's incorporated? Do you remember that black bar?
Proficiency barrier.
Yeah, proficiency barrier, well done. So on the Seefeld model, we have a foundational layer of stereotypies and reflexes. Then we have rudimentary skills like sitting up, rolling over, standing, walking, and then we have fundamental skills, and then we have that proficiency barrier built in, right? Because what Seefeld was trying to give us a visual explanation of was the fact that if I'm going to learn skills further up on the pyramid, then I have to get over this proficiency barrier. I've got to be competent enough at my fundamental motor skills to be able to learn the next set further up. Okay? Good, well done. Good. All right, so Isaiah, chapter 7, question 1. Infants may use a variety of types of locomotion. For example, blank is defined as infants moving on hands and knees. A is a quadruple gait, B is creeping, C is crawling, D is walking.
That's chapter 5, but I was given chapter 7.
Okay, that's my fault because I've got the wrong numbers on here. Okay, who did chapter 5? Uh-oh. Okay, so that's creeping. Right? Creeping is moving on hands and knees. Jackson, did I give you 7 as well instead of 5? Okay, running is defined by A. Anybody? Running is defined by A. 2 words. What makes running running and walking walking? What were we looking for? What were we looking for when we watched the video and paused the video?
What is the flight phase?
Excellent. Good, Glory. Well done. Yes, flight phase. If there's no flight phase, it's walking. Okay? So when we look at older adults, which kind of constraint is mainly going to change their walking pattern? Task, environmental, or individual?
Individual.
Good. Yeah. Good, Chris. Well done. Excellent.
I think that's Wilson.
Was that Wilson? Oh, sorry, Wilson. Unless I like I have to stand here and look and see which microphone pops up. It's very, hold on, if I sit here, then I can do both. I can chat to you guys and look at who's talking. Head, leg, and arm action are all components of the developmental sequence of running. True or false? Head, leg, and arm action. That's false, because the developmental sequence doesn't have a component for the head action, right? It only has components for the legs and the arms. Okay? So then, a rate limiter that would impact jumping might be that the person must be able to develop enough force to bring the body into the air from still, be able to land with both feet, be able to decouple the limbs. Which of those is a rate limiter for jumping, 2 feet to 2 feet?
Be able to bring the body into the air from a still position.
Good, yeah, right. So the development of force, and so the development of strength that impacts force production would be the rate limiter for jumping. Right, good, well done. And then the last one was intra-skill and inter-skill sequences. Does anybody remember the difference between intra-skill and inter-skill? All right, so intra means within, all right? So an intra sequence would be like our throwing sequence, right? In our MSU chart. I chop the hand down, I don't move my feet. I throw across my body, I don't move my feet. I throw with an ipsilateral step. I throw with a contralateral step, I throw with a bigger contralateral step, and a little bit of arm swing, right? So that's within the sequence, within throwing as a skill. That's an intra skill. And inter means between. So an inter-skill sequence is the sequence amongst skills. So for example, we are going to see running, and then jumping, and then hopping, and then galloping, and then sliding, and finally skipping. Right? So that would be an inter-skill sequence. What's the sequence of the skills following each other, between skills? 4, 5. Who had number 6?
Me and
You and Natalie? Natalia?
I will.
Okay. All right, Natalia, did you have the first set?
Yes, the first 3.
Oh, good. Okay. Developmental sequences for throwing were constructed specifically to address a throw for
Distance,
good, force
Rather
of distance rather than
accuracy.
excellent. Well done. Good. Let me see if I reworded that. I've got my document, that's why I'm messing up here. I should have printed off a new one. Girls score as well as boys on all components of throwing. True or false?
False.
False. Good. Yes, definitely false. Okay. Sadly, they don't get anywhere close to the boys for throwing. And then start distance from the ball when kicking. So how far away from the ball you are to run up and kick the ball is which type of constraint? Individual, structural, environmental, task, or functional?
We put D, task.
Well done. Good. Excellent. 1, 2, 3. That's you. You 3 out of 3, Natalia. Good job. All right, Wilson, you're up. Action in which of the following body components is characteristic of early kicking? Trunk, leg, arm, A and B, or B and C?
Wait. I said B.
B, good. Leg action, right, because if you look at your MSU chart, the first couple of stages are all about what's happening with the toe or the foot and the leg that is kicking the ball, right? Good, well done. Oh, I missed one, sorry.
You missed one.
I missed one. I did, didn't I? Early attempts, so a novice at striking, have similar characteristics to which other fundamental skill?
I said throw overhand.
Throwing, overhand throwing, good, yes. So when we look at the beginning levels of the MSU chart for striking, they're very similar to the beginning levels for throwing. If you go to the component approach in the textbook, they actually tell you to use the components from the throwing observation plan for striking. All right, so good, yes. And then, you didn't have a note on that chapter to do. Okay, cool, you got off lucky. All right, so 4, 5, 6, who did chapter 7?
I did.
Isaiah? Okay. Zarian, did you do chapter 7 as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And Chris? All
I
right.
think I got that.
All right, so let's jump around a bit here then. Let's do Zarian. Infants rely on vision to refine the path of arm reaches before they've learnt to generally reach the object. True or false?
I put false.
Oh, okay, no, that one's true. So they will watch their arm very carefully when they're reaching. All right. So, it's a bit of a tricky one though, because there's some very, very detailed work on the difference between infants and adults with that reaching movement. So don't worry. Isaiah, did you do the first 3?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so which of the following does not affect the ability to intercept a moving object? Ball size, ball speed, trajectory, color, or handedness?
Put color.
Okay. But we have research that says that the color of the ball against the color of the backdrop impacts success in catching. Okay? So be careful there. So I think handedness, right? Whether I'm left or right-handed should not affect my ability to catch a ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that.
I mean, if I'm right-handed and you tell me I have to catch the ball with my left hand, then obviously it's going to make a difference. But I think the assumption on the question is that you're catching with your dominant hand. Okay? Which of the following can be characteristic of children's early attempts to catch? Catching the ball in the hands, making the arms and hands rigid, closing the eyes in anticipation, A and B, or B and C?
I put, E.
Good. Yeah, B and C. Good. Well done. Excellent. Yeah. Because we know they don't catch the ball in their hands, right? We're at early attempts of catching balls. Right? So always think around, you know, if on multiple choice you've got some benefits, because if you understand the question and the topic, the answer might jump out at you. But if you don't remember, right, or you're stuck, think around. What do I know, right? What does all the pictures show me of a child catching a ball, right? Do we ever see a picture at an early attempt where the child is catching with their hands? Okay? So try to, you know, if you don't know, don't panic, think around. Well, what do I know that I can apply to this? Okay? Older adults are somewhat, Chris, I think we're on to your questions. Older adults are somewhat more or less accurate.
Less accurate.
Less accurate, good. And more or less variable.
More variable.
More variable. And the differences are less or greater when the object moves faster.
Greater.
Greater, good, well done, good. Okay, during the first year of life, infants make a transition from precision grips to power grips when grasping an object, true or false?
False.
False, good, yeah. Remember that what we see first is the whole hand involved, right? The palm and all the fingers and the thumb, the whole hand. It takes months and months, almost a year and a half, before we see a true pincer grip, right? So that's why like raisins or Cheerios are good food to give to kids once they're over their first birthday, because that makes them start to practice this pincer grip idea. If you watch them, right, before they develop their pincer grip, they'll grab a whole handful of raisins or Cheerios. It's not that they're being greedy, it's that they can't do this, right? So they can't pick up just one. Okay?
Okay.
All right, last bit. Who remembers, or Chris, do you remember what haptic perception is?
I scribbled down a little note says it has to do with like recognizing objects through touch.
Oh, well done, excellent. Yeah, haptic perception is what we use to identify characteristics about objects without using vision. So by touching them, what can I tell? Very good. Well done. Excellent, gang. Good job. Any questions? So when you go to your study help, there's a major concepts document. So that is just like a bulleted list of the main things in each chapter. So if you look at that bulleted list and you go, oh, I've got no idea what that is, then that's something that you really need to dig into in the chapter and remind yourself. Okay? There's the document with these review questions, and I will open up the answer key right now before I forget for the review questions so that you can go over those again if you want to. All right?
Sounds good.
When is the exam? The one next week?
Tuesday. It will open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it will close at 11 o'clock at night.
All right, sounds good.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And if you have any other questions, drop me an email or put something in the discussion board. I think my entire office hours this afternoon are taking up with advising appointments. So I'm not sure you'll be able to catch me unless someone doesn't show up. So probably email me or discussion board me if you've got a question. Okay?
Sounds good.
All righty. Good. Well done. Thank you. I will talk to you next week. All right? Remember that lab tomorrow is more time for you to work on your playground analysis. I will dial in to the classroom, so if you have questions about that piece of work, you can find me there. Okay? Bye. Have a nice day.